This episode is sponsored by Smile Brilliant. If you are anything like me, you're a bit overwhelmed by all the teeth whitening products on the market. This next sponsor has provided me with some very interesting facts to pass along to you and help you make the best decision for your whitening needs. Fact 1. Teeth whitening does not whiten your teeth. It removes the stains and restores the tooth to its natural color. Natural colors vary per person, but for the most part, it's an off-white or a slightly yellowish undertone. Fact 2. Teeth whitening does not damage teeth, but it does temporarily dehydrate them. When dehydrated, the pores in the enamel are open and exposed. Open pores invite acids and sugars, which, as we know, lead to tooth decay, which is why you should avoid any sugary substances for at least 24 hours after whitening. Also, avoid staining substances, as the teeth are more susceptible to restaining during this period. Fact 3. Tooth sensitivity is the result of tooth dehydration. When the pores of the enamel are open, the teeth become dehydrated, exposing the nerves to the elements. As the tooth rehydrates, the sensitivity will dissipate. To accelerate the rehydration and curb sensitivity, you should use a post-whitening application known as remineralizing or desensitizing gel. Fact 4. Caps and veneers cannot be whitened because they do not have pores for the stains to latch onto. Prior to having any dental work done, you should whiten your teeth, restoring them to their natural color, as the dentist will be color matching to your current shade. Fact 5. The key to teeth whitening is delivery device. So long as the whitening product is a peroxide-based whitener, it will remove the stains. What differentiates one product from the next is the device that holds the whitening agent to the tooth without interruption, which means those whitening strips on the shelves actually neglect the crevices and molars, and they slide around on your teeth. And those generic trays, saliva actually floods them because they're too bulky to create a seal. And the LED lights are simply a novelty item that add no benefit, as they can't put out UV light necessary to actually do the job. So, given all of this information, what product should you get to help whiten your teeth? The number one whitening device recommended by dentists is a custom-fitted tray. Now, you can have your dentist make your trays for about $300 to $600. Or you could head over to www.smilebrilliant.com and use their lab direct mail-in process for a fraction of the price you would pay at a dentist. Oh, and if you grind your teeth at night, you can also purchase the Smile Brilliant custom-fitted night guards. Want to try it for yourself? Head over to www.smilebrilliant.com and use the code MORNING for the exclusive Morning Cup of Murder discount. That's smilebrilliant.com, promo code MORNING.
There were two more murders 15 miles away.
When police arrived, they found the telephones and electricity lines.
We have a weird homicide.
A scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird...
Morning.
Cup of murder.
Meeting someone you met online in person for the first time always carries with it a sense of worry. On August 1st, 2015, a young mother was killed, and her online chat history would lead investigators straight to her killer. So if you like your coffee hot but your bones chilled, sit back and start your day with a morning cup of murder. Chelsea Martinez's life started to get complicated pretty early on. The Columbus, Ohio girl was pregnant with her first son and gave birth at the age of 16, had 2 more children in 2-year increments, and married her high school boyfriend, Oscar Martinez, in 2009 when she was just 20 years old. While some would see this as a fairy tale, the demands of keeping up with a growing family wore on the young couple, and Chelsea found herself feeling like a single mother as 25-year-old Oscar worked the night shift at a local McDonald's to make ends meet. But she made it work. Chelsea was a devoted mother, and in later interviews, her mother would say that her eldest daughter would do absolutely anything for the children she loved with all of her heart. Unfortunately, Chelsea was fighting against a history of mental illness and battled with depression on top of caring for her 3 young children. Because of this, Chelsea would sometimes disappear from home to go on impromptu road trips to escape from it all. But no matter how far she went, she always came back home to her children. At some point, she realized these trips weren't helping to ease her mind, and like most people looking for an escape, she turned to online chat rooms in hopes of immersing herself in a world outside of Ohio. There, she met a man with a screen name, Dark Rider, on a site called experienceproject.com, a social networking site created for people to share their life experiences and connect through similarities. Chelsea and Dark Rider bonded over their mutual interest in vampires and the Twilight series. But soon, their back-and-forth banter started to grow dark when one of them brought up the idea of suicide. Now, this wasn't something Chelsea was unfamiliar with. Given her depression and according to the reports, Chelsea mentioned or considered ending her life on occasion and relayed to this man that she could not wait to die, asking if he may be able to help her in her endeavor. With her request, the pair made plans to meet face to face. Shortly after this agreement, Chelsea Martinez went missing. But because of her history of going AWOL, her husband Oscar thought she was going to visit a friend in Akron, and her track record indicated that she would be back within a week. It was never longer than that. At least, it hadn't been in the past. Chelsea was officially reported missing on July 30th, 2015, after family members noticed a Facebook post in which she said she left to take her own life by ingesting cyanide. 2 days after this report, Chelsea's abandoned vehicle, which was still running, was found about 800 miles away from her home and just west of Faribault on Cannon Lake. This discovery made officials change the course of their investigation slightly, realizing there must be more to this than just your standard disappearance. So they started combing through her online history to see if they could glean any information from her chat exchanges. That's when they found her lengthy and troubling conversation with Dark Rider, and figuring he was the key to locating Chelsea, did some digging and found out his real identity, 39-year-old Jason Nisbet. Upon tracking him down, Jason not only fully cooperated with police, but he told the sad tale of the end of Chelsea's life. According to his confession, shortly after their discussion turned to assisted suicide, the pair agreed to meet up, and on August 1st, 2015, arrived separately at Shiger Park in Faribault, Massachusetts, where, after walking around the park together for a bit, he bound the young mother, strangled her, and then slit her throat before hiding her body in a nearby culvert. He told police exactly where to find her body and was arrested on charges of second-degree murder on August 7th, 2015. Prior to his arrest, Jason had only one infraction on his criminal record: no proof of insurance and expired registration. Chelsea's last message to her children on Facebook said, "I'm sorry I couldn't hold on to you any longer." Those who knew Chelsea and knew how she felt about her children feel as though there is more to this story than what Jason is saying. They find it hard to believe that she sought out a person to help end her life, drove across state lines to meet that stranger, and willingly let him take her life in such a brutal manner. According to Jason's wife, Gina, Jason is a, quote, vulnerable adult, and said that there is a lot more to the story that police are keeping close to their chest. She stands behind her husband, claiming he is not the monster everyone is portraying him to be. She believes her husband did have a hand in Chelsea's death, but doesn't believe it constitutes his murder. Simply put, she believes he was forced into giving her assistance in her life-ending endeavor, after trying to talk her out of it on multiple occasions. Jason Nisbet pleaded guilty to the charges against him and was sentenced to 40 years for the murder, and an additional 2 in connection with an assault. He remains behind bars. Thank you for joining me in my morning cup of murder. Please join me again tomorrow to hear what terrible thing happened on August 2nd. Don't forget to rate and subscribe and let me know how you like it. If you want to help support the podcast, there's always Patreon or just sharing it with your true crime obsessed friends. And remember, stay safe.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do.
And he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.